The quest for understanding. I look up at the stars and clouds and begin to wonder some more thoughts aloud. The one metaphysical question that people have always asked is, where did it all come from, dear? However, there are no simple answers.
First, let us think of what we know, or even what we think that we know. Either matter is eternal and it has always existed in some form or potential, persisted, or it somehow balances into being, out of nowhere. Both propositions are equally difficult to answer. All we can be expected to know is that we are here, as all else may be just conjecture and is therefore before and beyond thought, being merely a forethought and afterthought.
But people keep thinking about its delves, and sometimes they fool themselves into thinking that they have found the answer to the ultimate question of, why are we here?
How do they do that?
Well, they beg the question's pitch by proposing a mysterious solution, which, though seemingly satisfying at first, only introduces a much deeper question's thirst that is much larger than, although similar to the first one, the original question.
For example,
well, because the Earth is so complex, and because the life process is not readily and completely understandable, they believe Earth and life have a designer, some people.
the Earth couldn't just simply be here, being without any such designer, meaning a being?
Well, it could be actually, as would be the norm. What I mean is that it could have been formed by natural laws from the eternal matter that you mentioned before the latter, but people still feel, or perhaps just strongly wish here, that the Earth should have an origin from a designer. After all, effects do seem to usually have causation, do they not? Although a higher being raises a similar question, for if life requires life before it's due, then that would be true of God's life too.
Well, either matter could have formed itself or it could have always have been on the shelf.
True enough, but people feel, since gladdened, that this could never have happened for the reason, of course, that all things must have a divine source. God is their solution, the beginning course.
They mean again a creative deity, a super being?
Yes. And the other good thing about their solution is that it gives them something to look forward on, a divine destiny in heaven, a reward, something that is quite desirable, of course. Ward.
That solution is a gigantic step to one, but an understandable one.
True, but people still have a tendency to assign divinity for what they do not understand completely. Thousands of years ago, they decided, the gods were to have resided on the highest mountaintops of Olympus's rises.
Until people climbed those mountains bare, seeing no gods up there.
Yes, and so then the gods were relegated to more distant and heavenly realms, gated, such as the sun and the moon, but were not found there either very soon. But we're getting off the subject's rune.
Well, I may believe in laws and states by which the universe naturally operates due to the interrelations of magnetic swirlings, electric and atomic forces, and such whirrings, but that's not the God you're referring.
Right, I'm referring to a conscious super being's worth, the supposed creator of heaven and earth. You're referring to the life principles list that is part and parcel of all that exists, the very force of existence itself that persists, a force that's here eternally, although we ourselves may not be.
So God created matter and energy and all that is?
So they say.
But where did God come from?
Well, either he always existed as something or he was created from nothing.
Or both, since it is said that he made himself.
But of course, the dogma. So now we're right back to the original dilemma.
Ah, they have begged the question.
Yes, they've answered the question by proposing a much more difficult question.
True. To summarize the bet, they weren't willing to accept that all the matter and energy of the universe could have formed itself or always have been first. So they said that God created it from some sod. But then they easily accepted the fact that God, who is way more complex than the universe, formed himself, or always had been, in the lurch.
Right, the solution to the larger problem is exactly the solution that they refuse to accept to the smaller problem in the first place's constitution. A needless extra step was introduced, really. An extra complexity, unnecessarily.
However, after all this sum, we still don't know where the universe came from.
True, all we really know for sure near cause is that we're here and that there are laws and forces and life principles which have and may continue to allow the universe to operate, a few in the consistent and stable fashion that we can know and see in our ration.
Well, we'll just have to listen to our own intuition.
It's all we have to go on. Is the super being, if there is one, a good, bad, or an indifferent one? What do you think?
It is assumed that he is good, but there's no reason he couldn't be bad. But again, it's merely conjecture to ascribe human emotions lectured to a being who may well be above all that. Some religions say that he's both bountiful and vengeful, that his love is conditional. That is, either we obey his laws tell, or he'll punish and torture us in hell. And that he destroys life by his will, as in the great flood still.
Well, my dear, you've come a long way for a nun.
As you for a monk far have come. Some religions say that he's both bountiful and vengeful, that his love is conditional, that is, either we obey his laws tell, or he'll punish and torture us in hell. But again, it's merely conjecture to ascribe human emotions lectured to a being who may well be above all that. It is assumed that he is good, but there's no reason he couldn't be bad.
And that he allows the devil to exist to tempt us?
Yes, maybe as they say or invent, so we can earn our place in heaven sent.
You mean, or rather, some religions say that God shaped our human nature, and then introduced temptations to our nature, and then intends to punish us merely for being human?
So they say of our acumen, although you've pointed out the absurdity of its doubt.
Anyway, the gods of all religions here don't have the same character.
How do religions know any of this stuff anyway?
Well, the founders of many of the various religions claim to have had divine inspirations through visions and visitations with God himself's instantiations. Unfortunately for them, God told them each something different. Thus, the existence of the Catholics, Lutherans, Muslims, Jews, and Mormons. There must be hundreds of religions, all claiming by divine inspiration that they and their myth religion are the one and only true path to heaven, and that all the others are false and should be dead, or so they heard from the voices in their heads.
Well, since they all contradict each other, Zany, how do we know which is the right one, if any?
We don't. It's hard to sort it all out, the fuss. There's Buddha, Mohammed, Jesus, and so many other prophets among us, telling us of places like hell, heaven, purgatory, nirvana, etc., and other havens. These are all major differences in beliefs.
And some Eastern religions don't even mention God's shove. They're based more on the idea of a life principle of love, it being deeply ingrained in all things, from below, not above.
And some Western religions say and cry that God must be adored and glorified and bowed down to. It's not fun. But again, this may just be one of man's own emotional inventions from what he's used to as convention.
Well, if I were a god and ruled above, you could take away all of my powers but love.
That's very ingenious and generous of you, God. But of course, love means generosity, sod. We have no use for an unloving God.
And then there are the Polynesians, the Indonesians, and the Melanesians. They have elaborate superstitions and beliefs in good and evil spirits riven, and how to obtain a higher place in heaven.
Which isn't really too different, say, from most religions of today.
True, but doesn't the end, the gleams, somehow justify the means? For most religions advocate goodness. Jesus preached that we should give love, blessed, and kindness to our fellows and all the rest, just like the Buddha taught, and the Son. And the Virgin Mary was a good person, though some religions don't believe in her or her son.
Yes, those are good policies for anyone to follow, anytime, regardless of religion or belief that's hollow. I live them, you live them. It's pleasant. Jesus was good, but his Father wasn't. Religion is good for certain borderline people. It can nudge them toward the steeple, to the way of being good people. Unfortunately, it can also blind them, brainwash them, and bias them.
How so?
Well, when one believes in something very deeply, one tends to become intolerant of those with other beliefs, even good ones, because allowance of other beliefs seems to lessen the credibility of one's own belief.
Then so it is that Muslim children, so sure, learn at a young age to dislike the yor of the Jewish people and their culture.
Yes, that's part of it, for it's the differences between cultures that starts battles, and there have been plenty of religious differences that have started wars and clashes. Such as the Protestants versus the Catholics in Ireland, the Sikhs versus the Hindus in India's land, the Jewish persecution, the wars of the Crusades, the Shiites versus the Sunnis in Persia, the rage. So, like anything else, religions are neither good nor bad themselves, but that human selves only make them so themselves.
One is free to believe as one chooses from the list, but there will always be some know-it-all evangelist trying to convince us otherwise, the blessed fist.
Maybe we should put all the evangelists, preachers, solicitors, and their gists into one room and let them all talk amidst.
At first, each would be convinced of their fight, that beyond a doubt that they were right.
Yes, they would spit and spat, but soon they'd all see that the others were convinced also at that. Then perhaps they might realize that their beliefs were arbitrary, being dependent mostly on their parents' religion or region of birth, and realize that they, if born elsewhere else first or under other circumstances, might espouse different beliefs of the random chances.
Well, my dear, you've come a long way for a nun.
As you for a monk far have come.
I made myth takes.
We are here and now.
So, perhaps heaven's promise is bereft, but I'm not at all distressed. I can't know all the secrets, just me, so I've dismissed the dream of immortality, although I certainly wouldn't mind having it. For now, I live life with gratitude, the best fit, and accept whatever is left of it.
Me too. I've said my goodbyes to faith's dream of forever skies. I am, of course, much too philosophical to be bitter. Like you, I am resigned to its flitters. I, too, accept with hunger and joy and pleasure what is left of the dream, whatever.
People like to wish and dream afar and believe that they are more than they are, that they deserve a divine destination, that they are special among all creation. It's only natural to desire something good, although it's greedy perhaps, and not good.
Of course, but the ultimate humility would be to know that there may be no divine destiny, that we are all just fancy electrochemical organisms, and very much a part of the natural organic worldisms.
All I know is that we're an expression of some life principle or life force done that comes from some mysterious source giving. This I can know because we are indeed living. Whether the force is conscious or not, perforce, or what it's like, I do not know, of course. All I can do now is flow with that force.
Me too, for when I go against the flow, there is only pain and suffering to go. Instincts, intuition, and natural urges must exist for a reason. So I listen to the words.
Rather than struggling against the way things are, one must become the way things are, giving oneself to the moving whole, as we are, and flowing with it, often very far.
Well, here we are living a loving relationship.
Back in the monastery, I thought a lot about our developing relationships plot. Once I stayed up all night, thinking it free, but getting nowhere. Then it suddenly came to me, and I found serenity and delight. I discovered that only the heart's light can know what's right.
Men and women cannot exist in isolation, for the nature of one makes necessary the other one. One cannot have the valley without the mountain. Lo, when men and women join in love, there is wholeness again below and above. So the laws of celibacy are artificial scripture, for they very much go against nature.
Follow your natural urges. It's not natural to suppress a natural urge.
Yes, it takes a strong desire to overcome desire. It's a paradoxical and self-defeating desire.
Come to me.
First we touch, then embrace and hold, freeing, then begin to merge, snuggling into each other's being, blending in ways that have no name, completely transcending the physical plane, as if we could both occupy the same spaceness. Mind, heart, soul, and body are all of a oneness. We drift in the blackness, floating through the universe above, suspended by our love. There is no past, no future, there is only now, for sure.
Where does the rose bloom?
In loving hearts.
Which roses last the longest?
Roses last when they grow steadily and slowly. For if their growth is too quick to pass, then they will wither very fast. She opens her cloak to take me in, warmly, and we embrace lovingly, longingly, and thoroughly. We feel the unlimited power of the universe. She feels that she holds the entire cosmos within her. We are weightless, warm, and together, drifting up through the forest weather. There are no reference points, no hedges, no walls, borders, or rough edges. We became one as we float heavenward, drifting through the clouds afterward.
You have enclosed my universe, she says, yet it is still a boundless verse. You have filled the universe that I enclose as us.
I will fill that emptiness with my fullness.
I will empty your fullness with my emptiness. What is not is equally as great as what is.
We are equal partners in life and love's loan.
The monk and the nun cannot live by bread alone.
Celibacy is a crime against nature. One might as well stop eating or not breathing air or shun any other such natural functions, rapture.
When opposites are of a balance, the edges of all things dissolve and distance. Time and space become as one. All dimensions are transcended. Done. Yes, everything melts into everything, yet remains as itself to sing.
All is of a piece, yet all is interconnected and related.
Yes, all things are interrelated effects. Opposites are merely different aspects of the same phenomenon. A tear and a smile, light and dark, man and woman. As equal partners in any instance, men and women may achieve a perfect balance.
The tide of love supports us and carries us along with it. We are carried together down the mountain stream to rejoin the sea, for therein lies the completed dream. Life is a diamond, a rainbow of many colors.
Human beings need each other, especially in nunneries and monasteries. Body and spirit cannot be separated, for they are integral parts of the humans related. They must operate in tandem to make the being human. They are inseparable, unlike water and oil. It is as the flowers toil, drawing life's spirit from the soil.
A man and a woman are drawn together by the same urge that's between root and flower leaf and soil breath and wind bud and scent sun and water star and planet. Man and woman cannot exist alone. The nature of one requires the other one. When they join in love, wholeness is done. Like the yang and the yan, the man is in the woman and the woman is in the man. From the hardness of the world's sallies, a man comes to the valley of the soft mountains to be overcome by woman. She is the roundness of earth and moon, warm with promise, ever in bloom. The valley and the mountain still each make the other possible. They are opposites, but just in name, since they are really one and the same. My words to you are a faint echo of what my heart truly feels as so.
What is and what is not combine to make wholeness. Love is lived by lovers. They come together like mountain and valley, rain and river, air and mist, earth and moon, forever. Yes, they go with the flow as told and give themselves to the moving whole. Male and female are each the opposite twin of the other. They are, just as we are each other's satellite. I am thy co-planet, as like Shelley writes, thy constant satellite, thy paramour of day and night. Around you, above you, below you a light, and ever within your sight as I whirl about you in loving delight. My heavenly love, I am your pearl. In a magnetic dance I twirl and whirl, attracted to you, the sun's liveliest world. Around you like a necklace I'm a swirl. Wear me as thy crystalline gem impearled. I am always with you, blessed, wherever thou must goest. Round and round Apollo I must turn and whirl, hurry and follow, meeting meteors and dust, high and low, traveling far and wide through space not hollow. You are my heart light. Thy magnetic beam, like Cupid's arrow's flight, injects life and love into my heart for my tomorrow. Ever I shine with this light I borrow. We are involved.
As twin planets, our orbits must convolve, a made-up word, allowable. Into each other, our tidal motions must dissolve. Around a common center, we revolve, gazing on each other from every side. It's the focus from which our love evolves. Yes, as twin planets, each other's way we pave, through space, with the push-pulse of our gravitating waves. We're captured by a romantic attraction, saved, but not as each other's slave. For to the sun's light, our orbits are concave.
This is unconditional love we've made. Your love echoes in the heart and soul of us. I align my path with your magnetic lines of flux. I'm your constant paramour all the time. Your world pours life and love on mine. On mine. Oh, it echoes. Dearest twin, I must be thine, be thine. Your love echoes and reverberates in me. A romantic beam emanates from thee, attracting me, holding me, caressing me, kissing me. Your tidal love washes freely over me, linking you and me for eternity. I feel the warmth tonight. I am basking in your reflected light. Oh, I'm so bright, so very bright in your sight. In the love and light of your spirit bright, I need not ever face the endless night. The vibrations of your electromagnetic grounds travel without a sound. They come from all directions to surround while your affection touches me all around. Now I'm close to you in orbit, I'm love-bound.
We'll bathe in love's radiance, cleansing ourselves. Round and round each other's selves, as twin planets, we dance, entranced in the whirl of our romance.
Although we're as different as midnight and noon, we're drawn close by the forces of sun and moon. As lovers, we merge in a sweet eclipse, when world meets world as a kiss on our lips. While your shadow of love covers me, I'm full, oh so full in the shade of thee.
Our worlds overlap, this union is us to be.
The you is in me and the me is in thee.
Thy heart has touched my own, no 'tis more I love thee.
Yes, much more art thou loved than me is now in thee.
Thou art the soul of my soul and mine is of thine, see?
Nay, 'tis more than that, thou art me and I am thee.
It's an eclipse.
Our fugal voices can now resume to hum the two-part Pachelbel Buchanan's words, its soulful music sweeping us onward, upward, inward, and outward, as our voices blend and part, weaving in and out, once they start.
When does the rose bloom? Aru, seeking some general botanical clue to the book's mysterious and questionable rule.
The rose blossoms on the summer's solstice even, arising from the only kiss that's ever given to the arriving summer, from the vanishing spring, the kiss of which spring dies in giving, as they sing, I, a rose.
was young, I wildly embraced many causes, including monkhood, and searched for all the big courses, but I haven't any regret, for I enjoyed my life as such yet, when I was young and wet.
Yes, me too. For every age has its own charm and lore, much like the different lights of evening, noon, and morn. There are always new worlds to explore, and each year seems to get better, more.
Yes, just when you think you've done it all, you rise up to the next level, tall, building on what's been done before, and then do everything better even more.
As for feeling old, it is only a state of mind there, I must say, as I playfully toy with your hair.
Keep playing. Here's what I'm told. The day one stops being playful and bold is the day that one begins to get old.
Here we find the remains of the ghost town, and another cemetery's lawn, where we saw a man sitting next to a graven stone.
What are you doing, man?
I'm waiting for this dead and buried man to come back from Death's Land and tell me what it's like on the other side. I've been waiting here 10 years now.
What have you learned from where he lies?
Nothing. I fear that perhaps ideas may die when the mind turns to dust and flies. That there can be no unique breath and enduring identity after death, without the brain and its memories worth, just as there wouldn't be any before birth.
It could very well be that death is mindless and quite senseless.
Well, if no one comes back to tell me it about, I will just have to die to find it all out.
We will all die someday, my child, so you might as well live your life in the meanwhile. Remember, your warm body full of bloom is worth 10,000 lying in the tomb. Live while you're still full of life's tune. By these verses let your lamp of life illume.
The man thinks a while, to find current flash signals through his living mind, as chemicals decode the impulses in kind.
We're all a part of nature, so to nature we must return.
He's gone off in another direction, but I can still hear his diction.
I sprang from the soil, born to live and die. Then I beheld life's font and drank it dry. I may not live forever, yon, but my words and deeds will live on. As for me, I must go back, whence I came by. I must return to earth and die.
Everyone dies, but not everyone lives.
I know where purgatory is, the answer to the quiz.
Where it is.
It's on the planet Venus, horrid, because that's where sulfur's acid rains down from the skies that pour it.
Must be. I know where hell is down.
Where? Wait, I know, it's got to be in the sun.
Of course. There's no place hotter than that one.
And we know where heaven is, don't we?
Yes we do. It's so lovely. Even though it is the world's best kept secret, Earth is its name. Now at its let.
Let us stroll ever onward, feeling rather heavenly. We're sleeping our worth, and eating from our lover, the earth, scenting all of its charms, treasures, joys, and mirth.
It begins to rain, by chance, and way off in the distance, I can hear people cursing at the rain.
I never curse the rain, in vain, for without water there would be no life the same.
The universe has our well-being at stake, here, in the general sense, in the long run, dear.
But not in the specific sense, because, it's plain, one's home could float away if there's too much rain, then the worms will come out again.
Worms are wonderful too, all of them, but even though so, some people hate them.
They aerate over 400 million tons of soil per day. If it weren't for the worms toiling each day, there would not have been this world of plant growth that now sustains the world. No worms, no life unfurled.
So, we're all in this together, you, me, and the worms.
Yes, there seems to be a subtle, interlinked complexity to life.
The Earth is the best of all possible worlds of life.
Yes, all is right with the world, by good chance, even though it may not seem so, at first glance, what with the calamities of nature and so forth, but it couldn't really work any other way, for it's hard to argue with the balance works.
Right. The food chain works. The climate works. Everything works.
My blood runs warm, like the fire of the sun at noon.
My spirit is swept by the swelling moon.
Water is in me.
The air flows through me.
Earth's rhythm is always playing our tune to be.
Earth, air, fire, and water. That's life's recipe.
How is it that everything works on Earth if it is so rare?
Well, think of it this way. Fair. If it didn't work, then we wouldn't be here to even think about its thrall. So, it's not so very remarkable after all.
I propose a toast to life, seeing as we're here. I raise myself up, I am the cup,
Then, as my chalice I lift you up.
and take off me a sup.
I drink deep the wine that satisfies love's thirst.
If the winds of change dry you up first.
And here's another toast. Drink the lifeblood of the grapes you've sown. Before pressing time squeezes out what's grown.
And the closing poem, do toast with thy chalice that all be known. To life's red wine I give all that I own.
We'll walk away the day, making an early camp to stay, so we could warm again together that way.
The stars now come out of their jars. I like to talk about the stars.
Lay down on your back, for some quoting. Let's pretend that we're floating through deep space, it noting,
Once we were this.
when we were stardust.
Time, death, and stardust, those three were our birthright, duly. Death chose the wise from the silly, the useful from the useless, the pointed from the pointless. Death sifted the best from the rest.
But it took a long if time of yore, since death was the only evaluator. It took eons and ages of time's acumen for us to evolve from stardust into humans.
Time, death, and stardust's path, they write our epitaph as well as our birthright past. When our time expires, of the cleft, death will come, our life bereft, and only our dust will be left.
From time and death and us we came, and to this, that, and thus we must return, via the same.
Born from stardust, nourished by sunlight, I'd fill my cup with wonders of delight.
Life is a treasure, a radiant gem, a light that we'll never see again.
Your words show me all the more of the worth of our love. Hold me, love me, be one with me, hand in glove,
Let's merge yours and mine into ourselves.
as we embrace under the stars. Endless flames burn in the sky's spires, as we snuggle our inner fires. When I see the stars, their poetic verse, then I know that all is right with the universe.
They're eternity's running lights. Look, they shine, even through the blackest plight of the fathomless night.
It's as if good has conquered evil, right? The darkness can't even quench the smallest light, as even a mere candle can vanquish night.
They say that twin genii split day and night, along with wrong and right.
The candle lights the darkness and fills it bright.
Starlight is the origin of our being.
A star is the soul of the universe's seeing.
The sun is our Earth's soul and life star.
We are sparks from the stars on high, afar. We glow bright for a while, then flicker and die, as the par.
Our light shines now, so bright, relumining the flames in the black of night.
We are magic lanterns shining here, our spirits are lights in there.
From what bright star came the gleam in your eyes?
From what distant sun came your smile, light-wise?
Embrace me, starlight.
Hold me, stardust.
Good night, sleep well. Say a prayer of sleep for us.
Each night my genie comes to fill my urn, pouring sleep into me. Until day's return, I dream of the beauty of night's urn and the bounty of day's return. As the day follows night for all etern, fulfillment follows all for which I yearn.
As we drift off to sleep, voices fill the blackness of the deep. It is some sort of celestial debate to meet.
I'm the darkest, says the shadow to the night.
No, says midnight. Compared to me you're bright.
You floodlights, says starless space, stop your fight.
The darkest plight is the lack of love's delight. After a good night's sleep, it seems, we awake, like dewdrops, all agleam, fresh with the delight of some remembered dream.
We are the creative principle, aren't we?
Yes, it is embodied in us at length. We live by our intuitive strength.
And this intuition thing, it seems to know something, which, I suppose, as a definition, is why they call it intuition.
It is the light within. It is a life principle.
It's an inner creative source, I know.
So, I'll live from my intuitive wisdom and sometimes act spontaneously on it, rather than get labored down and ring with too much conventional reasoning.
Yes, and this is my idea of how creativity binds from the unity of the heart, soul, senses, and mind. The wonders of life bring love to the heart's peak, and cause it to take flight, so to speak, as all the while the soul whispers an image of things to one through its own language sings, which makes them of unimaginableness, but they are ever in the subconscious, and all this, if one lets its wences, streams, dually, into one's senses and into the intellect, merging there, a boy, taking one to a point quite beyond joy, for that's when imagination freely enlightens the mind's rationalization. This is what I call creative unification.
Follow the water to where your mind leads you.
Do what your senses tell you.
Sail on the wind of your soul.
Flow where your heart takes your role.
In us the cosmos has achieved consciousness.
Where the cosmos itself, no less. Where the conscious form of it.
Where the universe come aliving.
We are magic lanterns shining.
From the light that's never dying.
We are the triumph of life, love, and being.
We're the smile of being's elation, the joy of the universe's creation. In us the cosmos has come alive. It has reached conscious life from its primordial matter and vibes.
We have arrived. We are life from stardust.
And we live but for one of eternity's heartbeats.
We owe all that we are to time, death, and star heat. Truly from the stars cometh our help to beat.
Stars are the creators of matter. Mind, this is why they shine.
Death is the evaluator, the chooser, but it takes time.
Billions of years of mindless time.
We have waited to catch light and life a while, the rapture from heaven's smile.
Oh, what a joy to be alive.
Yes, now we are alive, and our minds interpret this reality into the many colors of the phenomenal, worldly.
Our lives, like a prism, really, strain the white radiance of eternity, like Shelley said in his poetry.
While we're here, in this dell, we can drink a glass of water from the well, we can enjoy the breeze that wends, and we can sing and laugh and love with our friends.
We can enjoy everything and everyone.
I will live for truth, beauty, and goodness love.
Yes, for their own sake. Love, for its own sake of.
The stars are eternity's love lamps.
They represent our good deeds entrenched, which even the death of night cannot quench.
My star's light is the origin of my being, the source of my matter, energy, everything.
Permanent, reassuring, unquenchable. It's my speechless soul, my self-winding mainspring.
Energy and matter are interrelated, the void pulsates in an endless sequence, for a field is present throughout space immense, out of which the particles must condense, occurring where the field is extremely intense.
Atoms are energy bundles placed.
They are not in the fabric of space, yet matter defines the structure of space.
Again the yin is in the yang, and vice versa.
I have a theory. Perhaps from out of nothing came the paired pluses and minuses of energy. The positive energy becomes matter, while the negative matter becomes gravity. Negative because it takes a force, a positive energy, to hold objects apart which are attracted by the negative force of gravity. So, when recombined, all energies still add up to nothing.
That's ingenious. So, then, from nothing was written our account, and back to nothing we'd still have to amount.
But in between those two parentheses bound, the pluses rain on us from heaven's fount.
Let us gladly leave the desert sands as a forgotten wish, and stop at the stream to catch some fish, and, after eating them, give thanks, and relax on the riverbank. Here are kisses on your cheek, a few. I have such peace with you.
I am safe and warm with you, and completely at home, too.
I am in heaven, so bright.
I wonder what the mythical light of heaven would be like.
Well, as a metaphysical question, Zykes, I can't really answer it, but I can describe what some legends say it is, and then I can talk about some things that we may know about, from the myths I've heard. True, heaven is a place where you can have anything that you want to, where your every wish and dream comes true, where you're always surrounded by love and lovelies, and where you can live forever in a state of perpetual ecstasy. I realize that I'm not describing it very well thought. I've almost made its plot rather decadent, have I not?
It's a fair but invented description, and it would be a glorious benediction. It may or not be so, there's no way we can know. However, while we're here on earth, if we live in life's glory and worth, we can swim in the same pond. No need to wait for the dim promise of beyond, for those distant drums can't be heard. Well, enough of that for now, of the word, but let's talk it through afterward. May I look again at that living book of philosophy?
I hand it to you, softly.
It has words with matching pictures in it.
Or perhaps it has pictures in it, served with matching words. As the counter, I counter.
I am neither, yet both, for the pictures drawn, and the words read, offer mutual support, joining together, each reflecting off of the other, thus building and spiraling in the mind's arena, into a more complete perception of the ideas. The words appeal, at first, to the logical kind, the intellectual part of the mind. The pictures appeal, at first, to the passionate, artistic, and sensual portion of the sensate. The two mind images then merge into the wholeness of truth and beauty converged. The intellect can then sense without the senses sect, while the senses can intellectualize without the intellect.
It's a rather thorough experience.
From the high mountain, we might look back, atop, to catch one last glimpse of the flock of the monastical village off in the distance, where a train out of persistence.
There it is, still smouldering.
I stare at it half fondly, as that's where I met you warmly.
Here, now, a little stream, where the water runs the rocks over, all agleam, as it tinkles around the stones, as seen. Water may conquer fire, but with a lot of steam, such a woman with man. Let us roam at ease, saddling the balm in every breeze, drinking the sweets from the flowers, kissing under every tree, enjoying the earth's favors, and meandering on, following the water's flow, as it lets us ever so, going with it, by not struggling against it, but becoming it.
Realize.
Peter, I look at this red rose that I still carry. It's for you. We're married.
I will surround the blossom of your flower with my unselfish love.
My blossom unfolds over you, as does your own within me, too.
We'll refold and enfold each other's home.
I'll enwrap you, like the words of a poem.
Let's again open the tome, the mysterious book of poems.
What is the name of the rose? Oh, magic book that knows. Can you not tell us now what's true, after all that we've been through?
A reply, quite alive. There is much more to arrive. I shall answer you as time wears on. It all has to do with the life of the rose. So you shall see, it is of the thorn that grows.
I'm eager for the quest, to enter into our innermost bowels rest, of our flowered spirit in, savouring there all the flora within.
I can now almost understand the flower, and much that our speechless memory has devoured, all that life's drudgery has stolen and overpowered. The winds of May's highs and lows are making love to the flowers that grow, moving them this way and that, to and fro, nurturing them so. Spring seedlings reach for the light of day, drinking deep draughts of the sunny bouquet.
The book opens to the page of breath and death.
Yes, for as we walk abreast, the peace of the forest is being shattered by the sound of people bickering and quarrelling away in a much too common way. We approach the noise, but the people just stare at us, improvised.
Save your breath. 2. Don't tell us what to do.
Don't meddle. We're having a fight. Oh, brother.
That's funny and lame, for what you just said to me is just the same that I was going to say to you. Save your own breath. 2. The breath which is between death and you, don't expend it on fighting sprees. Fighting saps your energy, and undoes love's promise. Your breath is dear and precious, so enjoy all that life can give. Ere comes death, yelling drives people away. A few left, soft and gentle voices, whispering even, brings them close. Tell them more, my dear, that's pleasing.
There are large worlds of life to live in. But here you are, trapped in the tiny cell of arguments, resentments, and animosities, wasting all your breath therein. Stand back and realize life's total space, and note that quarreling occupies but a small place in what can be accomplished by the human race.
So, if you're not busy living, then I guess you're busy dying. All the world's riches cannot extend the power which drains the cup and withers the flower. What would be the price of wasted breath, purchased at the final hour, from the hand of death? Loving is what this life is all about. To have it is to live it all out. Then why, oh why, do you not seek it out?
Somehow, fighting doesn't seem appropriate anymore, so us quarrelers will stop from doing it anymore.
Let's hope the complaint department remains closed.
Let us love intimates continue on, down the trail, now and then reading verses beyond the pale, from the mysterious book of lively tales. Of what life and love are made of is the next page.
So we ramble along the path, ever singing, now pretty much ready for just about anything.
Here is yet another hapless person, one who seems to be searching for something beyond. Curiously, he is riding on an ox and chasing butterflies, trying to connect the dots.
Where are life and love? I'm a rider, looking all over the place for that refreshing cider.
Well, what are you looking for in particular?
I'm looking for life's flight, as a dove, while trying to capture the butterfly of love.
There's nowhere else to look for life's impact except in what you are doing now. In fact, right where you are at, you must experience the wonder, art and mystery of life's pact in every single act. Chasing intensely after life, romance hot, or butterflies, is a lot like riding on an ox while looking for an ox. Life and romance are all around you, not nil, they are right here. Relax, be still, then on you will alight the butterfly of love, for that's the touch that romance is made of. As for life, it grows in the various cracks of day, from the seeds you plant along the rocky way. Like an artisan, mix your work and play, all the while nurturing all with love's sway, then you can harvest life's bouquet.
Let us move on, feeling more lively, and so it is that we'll taste the life that is sweet, without the sour, as we while away the hours, for our souls met in the bower, through love's great power. We awake early this day's hour, and again drink the dew from the flowers. You pick a new rose to carry. We think we hear the rose laughing and that we can even see it smiling. The rose speaks of what is so.
I am the rose that blows laughing into the world's foes, until my tassels tear again, when I throw my petals on the garden. Cherish me, for I represent the strife, the fragility and impermanence of life. I live in my prime but for just a while. First, I'm flowering and free, a child, but then I am fragile, and finally, forlorn. When my beauty is past, my petals float, torn, to earth, and all that's left is the thorn. But, while I live I am full of power, the queen of all the flowers.
Like the rose, we will grow old one day, sir, and then throw our treasure back to earth.
Thorns have roses,